Someone once said that if you can explain Nigeria to anyone and they tell you that they understand, they're either lying to you or they have a mental problem. And that was never more obvious than today. I'm going to keep this real brief, right? Because I'm in a meeting and I have to go back in. I was talking to my colleague today, right? So it's after the Easter break. It was a long weekend. We're just catching up, right? To say, how was your weekend, etc., etc. So all the things on the news, just in terms of, do you hear about this thing that happened and that thing that happened? So my colleague is white and she's British, right? So the UK system is all she's really ever known, right? I'm obviously from Nigeria and I'm in the UK right now. One of the things that's trending on the news is about some guy who works like in a big supermarket in the UK, right? And there's something called shoplifting. I know many of you know what shoplifting is. In the UK, it has become a problem. So many of the big shops like Waitrose and M&S have been complaining. So over the weekend, M&S came out to say that the police needs to do more because the rate of shoplifting in the last 5 years has increased. In some of the videos that were shown, some young people in parts of the UK just come together like teenagers. They're on holiday right now. They just come together, in a place and then storm a store, right? They just go in like a large number of them because they are hoping that if they enter a store in large numbers, then it's harder to catch any of them. That's that mentality of crowd mentality. So they just walk into a store and start opening the fridge, taking drinks and running out like as a group so that before you can know what's going on, you know what I mean? They've done it and they've gone and they think that they're being smart. They think it's kids being kids. But that's even the smaller thing, right? The one that happened this weekend that made it a big deal and a big conversation was that this thief walked into one of these big stores, right? Did not take bread, did not take butter, did not take any of the things that are like important basic things that you're like, oh, maybe he's just hungry and let's have a bit of sympathy. People are going through a lot. You know what I mean? He goes and takes very high value luxury items in the store, just goes straight to the shelf and starts taking them and putting them in the bag. Right in broad daylight, in front of everybody who's shopping, in front of the store staff who are also doing other things. One of the store staff recognizes this guy, that this guy has been to that store, this shoplifter has been to that store multiple times, right, in the past, and just walks in and takes things and walks out. So this time, the guy accosts him and stops him from taking the thing, drags him with the bag, whatever he was trying to steal, takes it from him. The guy runs out of the store, the shoplifter runs out of the store. This store worker then takes one egg, just one egg, because we're looking for something nearby, and throws it after the guy. Now, the egg doesn't touch the thief, right? And the thief runs out of the store, no incident, if that makes sense. So the conversation in the UK was that so the headquarters of this shop, of this supermarket, then calls the staff and says, you're under investigation because you tried to stop somebody from stealing from the store. The guy like, I beg your pardon. They're like, tell us why you tried to stop the guy from stealing from the store when you know that we have a policy in this supermarket that you do not interact or interfere with thieves when they come to rob the store. And the policy is supposed to protect you so that because we have not trained any of our staff to deal with crime and security incidents, right? That's not your job. Your job is just to fill up the shelves, do whatever your job is. You're not trained to do this. But secondly, we may be liable as a supermarket if for any reason a shoplifter or a robber harms any of our staff because that staff was trying to do the right thing, right? By stopping them. It can create liability for us. If you get injured or you die, then it's a bigger issue for us. Third of all, most of the things in the store are already insured, which means that we have CCTV in the store, which is capturing everything happening in the store anyway in real time, right? So what the process and protocol would be is that if somebody steals from the store, we simply make an insurance claim at the end of the month or whatever time we have. We make an insurance claim. We list all the things that have been stolen in all our stores around the country, and we give it to the insurance people and make a claim. Now, the insurance people reviewed the videos to be sure that it was really a theft. We hand those videos over to the police to investigate it. The police usually doesn't do anything because they just think, look, we have big things to do. We have murders. We have really big crimes in the UK. You're not telling me to go and follow somebody who stole a loaf of bread in your store. Or, guys, sorry, go and get insurance to cover it for you. So usually that's the issue. But now the word has now gone out. People now know generally that if you walk into any store right now, you steal something, nobody's going to try to stop you. They will literally not allow to stop you in some stores, and you can steal it and walk out the door. Nobody's going to stop you. So they just wear hood and wear mask, go into the store, steal something, and just walk out, and nobody says anything. They don't even run. That's how bad it has become. Now, there's some things that somebody from Africa like me struggles with, and this is one of them. So as we're having this conversation, she now says, and I'm like, well, I don't understand why on the one hand the UK is complaining that the amount of shoplifting is getting higher, but that they have policies in stores that says you cannot arrest the thief even if you catch him stealing in broad daylight in front of you, and now you're getting fired because they fired the guy who tried to stop the thief. Now you're getting fired for doing so and telling you that his policy to protect you. It doesn't make any sense. You have to choose one. You either penalize crime, you don't reward crime and incentivize it. She then says, what do you do in Nigeria? A part of me, usually, when people ask me, what do you do in Nigeria? I always freeze because, for one thing, I've always said I hate to tell lies. So I usually don't tell lies, right? Also, but then on the other hand, it's like in a nice conversation like this, if I don't respond back, then it's almost the silence is almost like a bigger issue than just saying, oh, in Nigeria, this is how it is. So I said, well, that's not how we do it in Nigeria, right? There's two things. There's this type of stores in Nigeria as well, very high profile stores, supermarkets, we call them like ShopRites and all those things, where just like everywhere else in the world, there are like security beepers. If there are tags on the things, so if you don't pay for it, you try to walk out, it will beep. You know what I mean? We have security at the gates, at the door of the stores. Do you know what I mean? Like patrolling and making sure that, you know what I mean? Like you can't steal stuff and just walk out the door, someone's going to arrest you. Or try to stop you in those kind of big stores, right? But more than 60% of our shopping is done in open markets and more informal settings, right? Not big supermarkets like this. In those types of environments, you wouldn't dare steal, because if you try to steal, those places are not insured. The mom and pop stores, you know what I mean? Like it's just somebody's mother that opened the store somewhere and is trying to sell a little thing to survive. She's not having full insurance. She's not having CCTV. She's not having any of that. If in the open market where they're selling meats and tomatoes and potatoes, who's going to do CCTV for that? Who's going to go report to the police that you stole something? So in our instance, there's jungle justice, which means that if you do try to steal something, you're not going to just walk in there boldly and courageously and take it and walk out and think no one's going to do anything. You'd be lucky if the police gets there on time to save you, because if the police actually does get there on time, then it's actually your interest as a thief that the police gets there, because they will try to follow protocol. They will take you to the police station. They will try to, blah, 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 blah. What often happens, therefore, is that if you do try to steal, you would be apprehended by the mob. So a crowd will gather quickly. The person will raise an alarm. The crowd will gather quickly. On the best case scenario, they'll probably just beat you, collect what you stole from you, beat you to a pulp, and leave you, right? Worst case scenario, you could get killed. She was stunned. She said, do you mean killed like, oh my God, metaphorically, you're so dead? Or do you mean like literally killed? Why would that be metaphorical? I'm like, yes, literally killed. She's like dead. I'm like, yes, dead. She's like, how do you kill them? Did you just stab them? Like, what did they do to them? I'm like, well, I've seen where they've like mixed cement and water and given the thief to drink. She's like, what do you mean cement? Like for buildings? I'm like, yeah, like cement, like, powdered cement, put in water, mix it, and tell the thief to drink it, force him to drink it. How is that supposed to do? What's that supposed to do? Yeah, it congeals in his stomach. It's not supposed to be for consumption. And the thief literally dies a painful death. The silence. She looks at me like I'm like, she thought I was gonna break out laughing. She thought I was gonna be like, ha ha ha, gotcha, April Fool. And I'm quiet and she's quiet, and I'm quiet, she's quiet. She's looking at me and I'm looking at her. She says, is that what happens? Is that the only way they kill? That's how they just kill them all the time? I'm like, no, that's actually the more humane one, right? I've also seen where in more instances than I care to count, they've actually caught a thief, beat them, usually first beat them to pulp, really bloody, beat them really like bloody, like messed up. And then find a tire of a car, a used tire of a car, and put it around their neck, put petrol on them and set them on fire. She literally clutched her pearls. She looked at me like I was crazy. She thought, I swear to God, she thought I was lying or telling her like a movie. She's like, you're joking. I'm like, no, I'm not joking. She's like, in broad daylight. I'm like, yes. She said, like a crowd of people are gathered. I'm like, yes. She's like, are there kids running around? Are they like covering the eyes of the kids? Are people like throwing up? Are they like traumatized? I'm like, no, people are just, they all actually gather because they want to come and watch. They're like, oh my God, what's going on there? We've caught a thief. What are we doing to him? And they just watch him burn to death. She's like, isn't that traumatic though? Like, isn't that traumatic? Do people like get help afterwards? Do they like get therapy? I swear to God, a part of me, I almost burst out laughing. I'm like, but it wasn't funny. it wasn't funny. And this is the problem I have, is that when you try to explain Nigeria, the things that I have taken for granted growing up, and many Nigerians who if you listen to this video, you will realize that I'm not telling a lie, right? So if you're Nigerian and you watch this video, I haven't said anything that is untrue. But when you try to relay what your lived experience is as a Nigerian to somebody who is not Nigerian, from what we call a sane society, it occurs to you that we have normalized barbarism. You sound crazy, you look crazy, and then you start to ask yourself, am I really crazy? Am I normal? Is this normal? But there's nothing normal about Nigerians in Nigeria. From taking care of yourself, I go on TikTok all the time and Nigerians are fanning themselves, using things to fan themselves. And people from around the world are watching them on their live stream and asking them, what are you doing with your hand? And what's that? What's the paper? Are you hot? Why are you so hot? What's going on? Turn on the fan. They're like, there's no power. No power. Everyone's like, no power. Well, then step outside. It's too hot outside. Well, then go have a bath. There's no water running. I have to go fetch it from the tap. Make it make any sense. And we just live. So when she was asking me, are we not traumatized? Do we not need counseling and therapy? I'm thinking, I almost laugh, but a part of me is like, actually, you're right. In this grand scheme of things, many Nigerians are walking around and need therapy. But because we deal with other Nigerians who are just as traumatized as we are, we've normalized it. We can actually watch a thief get burned today, and it doesn't occur to us as a human being. We just keep it moving. We go and have lunch, we have dinner, we enjoy our lives, and we act like nothing happened. But this trauma comes out in other things in our lives. We are aggressive, more aggressive than we should be. Many of us are super loud when we unnecessarily are not supposed to be loud. We are short-tempered. We you know what I mean? And we say that's how we are as a people. We're just loud and abrasive. But that's not how you're supposed to be. Part of it is the trauma actually finding an escape route in your body. You're carrying on so much pain, trauma, things that you thought were normal that are just not. The human mind was not built to watch another human being be burnt in broad daylight in front of them and just go and eat eba and not throw up and not replay it in their head. And we've indoctrinated our kids because the kids walking by the street have seen it as well. And nobody explained to them and said that's not normal. So the next time they see a thief being burned, they're like, oh, I've seen that before. And this is probably what happens to thieves. When you steal something, you just get burned. A human being. And then tomorrow you realize and you wonder why Nigerians sometimes appear callous. They can steal things that don't belong to them. They have no sympathy, empathy. If it's about them and their families, if it doesn't affect them personally, then it's fine. The pain of other people doesn't affect them. It's almost like if I'm not feeling the pain myself, then everybody else can die. I don't give a shit. And you wonder where that comes from. It comes from these little things that we have taken on as our normal lived experience. And so when she said it, I thought to myself, I couldn't even argue. I couldn't say, no, we don't need therapy. I couldn't say, oh, no, it's normal. I couldn't say any of that. I just thought, actually, maybe I am crazy. As I'm telling her the story, I'm thinking, yes, I look crazy. I sound crazy. I probably am crazy, and I just didn't know it until I repeat the story. So yes, today of all days, as I had this experience, I thought to myself, I need to tell everyone about it. Because this is one of those times when it's that saying that if you can explain Nigeria to somebody and they understand it, they're either lying to you or they're mentally insane. I think it's true. The fact that I understand it and I thought, oh, this is normal. I don't know why you're so aghast by my story, means that something is wrong with me. Something is genuinely wrong with me. Let me know if you agree. But if you don't, that's fine as well. I have to get back to work. Like I said, this was going to be short, but I'm sure it's not. All right, then. Have a good one. I wear sunglasses for summer, obviously. But, what else? See you soon.